The opinions that you may hear us express, expressly or otherwise, over the public's airways, is in no way to represent the opinions expressed or otherwise by our management, producers, sponsors, or various members of their staffs or their families or few friends.
Nor should these views express the opinions of the broadcasters, the disc jockeys, the salesmen, the program and music directors, and their secretaries and girlfriends and wives and their staff.
Unless, of course, we are willing to assume that we can assume the responsibility that their opinions will not influence anyone else's opinions.
Or their family and friends.
And staff.
Got it? I've got it now. I just want to acknowledge Transgender Visibility Day. All right, I want to just remind people that was what we were celebrating, not Easter. All right?
Okay. Transgender Visibility Day.
Yes.
That was instead of Easter, or
instead of Easter. Yeah.
Sort of as a part of Easter.
Easter is, it's a holiday, right? But, it's the Transgender Visibility Day that we're really focusing on now.
All right. I don't know what that really means, but it's okay.
It's good. It's good that we see them.
We salute transgender.
Yep. There may be a lot of criticism from the right wing in regards to replacing Easter with Transgender Visibility Day.
Yeah.
But, that's their problem.
It is their problem.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm just seeing it up here, and
okay.
I know that they argued about it over the weekend,
okay.
And they're besides themselves. And, of course, the simple answer is that Easter happens on all different days. Every year it's a different day. It's not on a specific day.
Well,
Transgender Visibility Day is on a specific day.
Okay.
And you can't move it around. And it just so happens that they're on the same day this year. Okay?
But Easter's always on Sunday. It doesn't move around.
It does move around because it's a different day. It's a different Sunday.
Okay. The date is different.
The date is different.
But it's always on Sunday.
But Visibility Day is on a specific date. God, this is so simple. This is so simple.
Why are you angry?
We're arguing about it.
Are you angry because it's April Fool's Day? Are you fooling us into thinking that we're angry? Yes. You're not really angry at all.
I don't get this angry that easily. Do I?
No, especially this early. It's only 8 minutes into the show. You can't be that angry.
Yeah, well, it's just that.
Okay.
It's just I'm looking up here. We've got CNN in the studio, and Mike Johnson, House Speaker, basically came out and said this is horrible that Biden would do such a thing like this, replace Easter. He has to know the problem with this, right? He's got to be aware.
Right. He's got to be aware.
Easter falls on Sunday, but it's a different numerical day every year. And Transgender Visibility Day is a specific day.
Okay.
My God, how hard is this to explain to somebody? Mike Johnson, I really think you should rethink this because it's this simple, Mike.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't get that. Thanks for trying to help, though.
Okay. John, how much coffee have you had this morning?
I don't know if you saw it a moment ago.
The walls.
A moment ago, Sam had his face in his hands and just had his head down, like, "Oh God, here we go."
Well,
it's okay. Hey, by the way, Mad Radio 92.7 WMDX. It's the John and Gordy show for April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's right.
It's 34 degrees. It's clear. It's going to be kind of rainy later on, high around 43.
Well, people are wondering, what are we going to do for April Fool's Day?
Yeah,
right?
We were thinking of all kinds of funny ideas.
We had one really good idea, and it's the John and Gordy Go MAGA April Fool's Day special.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, we were going to go MAGA.
But then again, when you think about it, all you have to do is tune into right-wing radio, and you've got April Fool's Day every damn day of the year.
That's right. So why should we do it?
So why would we do it?
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
So we threw that idea out.
Done. Well, and that was the only idea we had.
Well, it wasn't the only idea, but it was the only good idea.
Well, you wanted to dress up as Easter bunnies. And that only works for the one or two listeners who view us.
And besides, it's not Easter anymore. It's not. It was yesterday.
True. That's true.
And the other idea we had was to switch names. And you'd be Gordy and I'd be John all morning and see if anybody noticed the difference.
And I objected because I can't keep track.
Too complicated, I know.
Complicated. I feel like Speaker Mike Johnson at this point. It's just too complicated. Don't try to tell me when Easter is. God.
Did you have a good Easter? Did you the Easter Bunny deliver some chocolate and eggs?
No.
Stuff at your house?
No.
Yeah.
No, we had a Cajun Easter, by the way.
Cajun Easter?
Yeah. Usually you have a ham or something like that. Some major dish.
Yeah.
But we made a Cajun rice dish. And it was just wonderful. Yeah. Everybody loved it.
I went over to my sister's house. She had all her family. You know, she's got 3 grown kids and then 5 grandkids, and they were all running around, and everybody was well behaved.
And you went to a restaurant?
Food. No, they made food. They made the ham. They made ham and a 3-bean salad or whatever. And,
yes.
You know, great. It was excellent. And everybody decided not to talk politics. You know, you just knew that going in.
Okay.
Because there's 2 or 3 there that would like to really stir it up. But then I walked in, you know, and he works for that. He works for, you know who he works for.
You know.
Yeah. You know. So suddenly the hush falls over the room. Yeah, that's the way it is this time of year. Yeah.
Sometimes you can be a grouch.
So everybody was on their best behavior for Easter Sunday.
Well, that's good.
It was good. Yeah.
Well, you showed me pictures of
my
your granddaughter.
My granddaughter, she met the Easter Bunny at one of the local restaurants, and boy, she was thrilled to meet the Easter Bunny. Gave it a big hug and big smiles. Yeah. Very cool.
What restaurant was that?
That was at the 4-star restaurant in Baraboo.
Okay. All right.
Where my daughter works occasionally, part-time.
I was going to say, and I mentioned it to you. I thought the bunny had kind of an evil look on his face.
Evil look. It was just
they could have put eyebrows on that went down the other way, kind of a sad
like a
Easter bunny instead of an evil one that looked at you as though it had plans.
It wasn't scary.
There's just something a little unsettling about a human-sized, human-proportioned rabbit, isn't there?
Right?
That too.
Yeah,
yes.
Scary. Did you have a good Easter, Sam? What did you do?
I did.
Do anything?
I was over at Sophia's parents for the weekend. We didn't plan on doing anything for Easter, but kind of last minute we went over to her uncle's place and had a good time. Got back late last night, but it was fun.
Yeah,
good food.
Yeah, it was good ham and potatoes, very tasty.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Well, good. Glad everybody had a good Easter. Okay. Well, hey, what's on the National Day calendar today? Let's find out.
We've checked in.
What?
We've checked in. We had a good weekend.
Hey, but it's Monday and it's April Fool's Day, so it's tomfoolery. Right. Is it tomfoolery day today? Is it or is it not? What would you think on that? Or is it National IEP Writing Day?
Well, it's got to be that one because you had a hard time saying it. You would never
have a hard time saying it if it wasn't a day. It's also Take Down Tobacco National Day of Action. Is it that day? Is it National Sourdough Bread Day? National 1 Cent Day? We know it's April Fool's Day. Is it National Historic Barn Preservation Day? Which one of those days does not belong, John?
Historic Barn Preservation Day.
You are correct, sir.
There you go.
You got the buzzer wrong.
Oops. I hit the wrong button.
You just want to attack me today.
There we go.
There you go.
I just feel like
I'm sorry, John.
Want to lay into me no matter what.
Okay. Let's review some of these days.
Let's find out more.
Because I know
please,
you
Gordy,
want to.
Please tell us.
All right. Well, National Tomfoolery Day kind of speaks for itself, doesn't it? It's kind of like just part of what? It's just part of April Fool's Day.
I just want to kind of bring up something on tomfoolery.
Yeah, okay.
Because there was a place called Tomfooleries.
And that's what this is.
In the 90s.
Well,
where they had games. Video games.
And Kalahari Resort has picked up on that. Now they have tomfoolery.
Oh, they do?
Yes, in all of their Kalahari Resort, which they have half a dozen of them now spread all out over the U.S.
Because
started in Wisconsin.
They used to call it Bally's tomfoolery.
Right. Yeah, that was. They must have lost that franchise, Bally's. I think Bally's went down.
Yeah,
but,
I think it did.
Kalahari picked up on that, and that's what that is. You know, nothing's actually happening on the National Day calendar website here. I can't seem to log into it except to get to the titles of these things today. But it's National Take Down Tobacco Day of Action Day. It changes annually. They move their day around, apparently.
It happens.
It's National 1 Cent Day. Don't know why. Can't log on to it.
Can't
It's not
you just
going
click on
anywhere.
it?
I'm clicking on it, but nothing's happening. It's just circling the wagons there. National Sourdough Bread Day. Again, nothing's coming up here.
Is there any way?
Just
Is there any way I can help you?
You could go to nationaldaycalendar.com, and then everybody could log on to it and then call in and tell me what these days mean.
Okay.
Because I'm struggling over here.
All right, because I know.
I don't know why. Is there a Wi-Fi connection problem today here?
No.
I don't know.
Maybe this is what truly is April Fool's Day is about, is that you guys don't do the show, and then listeners call in and they do the entire show.
That would be good.
Great.
I'd like it if that would happen.
All right.
Okay.
Let's
Sure.
let's go to National IEP Writing Day, and the first Monday in April is National IEP Writing Day, to honor all special education teachers and team members who write individualized education programs. IEP, that's what it's short for, for students and with disabilities.
That's right. And having a couple of disabled grandkids, I can tell you a little bit about that. They have these meetings on a regular basis with the teachers. The principal usually is involved, and the parents and sometimes grandparents, to just talk about the progress of the special needs kids. So it's a really good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
your granddaughter is able to put together some interesting things with cups.
She's a builder, yeah. I showed you a picture of, she had all these little plastic cups built into a giant pyramid thing, probably two and a half feet.
Absolutely gorgeous.
It was perfect, right?
It was.
Yeah.
Nothing was out of order.
And I know she didn't have any help with that.
Yeah.
She did it herself, and then she just loves to build those things up and then knock them down. She put her
How old is she?
She's 6.
Just amazing.
Yeah, she is amazing.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And she's a wonderful artist. She draws and paints, and she really gets into the details on these things. It's amazing. Hey, it's 18 minutes past the hour. Clear skies, 34 degrees this morning, and looks like we could be in for some rain today. When we come back, we're going to be cracking open the history books, right, Sam? We've got some historic dates.
Oh, yes.
All lined up and ready to go. Right? Yeah.
And we'll be getting to The Mean Farmer. And by the way, there's an interesting TV show on that The Mean Farmer might be interested in.
Okay, it's coming up.
Breathing out the clean air, sitting in the sun. When I get my train fare, I get up and run.
Dead yet. But nicotine slaves are all the same at a petting party or a poker game. Everything's got to stop while they have that cigarette. Smoke, smoke, smoke that cigarette.
Yeah, smoke it.
Puff, 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 and if you smoke yourself to death, tell St. Peter at the Golden Gate that you hates to make him wait, but you just gotta have another cigarette.
Man. Used to smoke cigarettes?
Yeah,
me too.
Other people's OPs.
It's a National Day of Activism today. Take down tobacco. National Day of Action empowers youth to stand out, speak up, and seize control against big tobacco as a part of their Kick Butts campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some people need some help, quitting smoking. because it can be very, very addictive, of course.
It is, of course.
Now, it's also National Sour Bread Dough Day.
It is.
John.
It's outrageous.
You've got the inside
I know.
skinny
I
on
was
that,
kind
right?
of. I was a little shocked.
Why?
As part of the California Gold Rush, sourdough is the principal bread made in Northern California and is still part of the culture in San Francisco today. You could still buy those cultures on the internet. In fact, I was thinking about getting some myself so I could start my own sourdough bread store here in Madison. Well, anyway, the bread was so common out there. Get this.
Yeah.
At the time, the word sourdough became a nickname for gold prospectors. Now,
what's the connection there? That doesn't
I've never
make
seen
any
it in a movie. Right?
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Does it?
It doesn't make any.
Yeah.
In the Yukon and Alaska, sourdough is also a nickname given to someone who has spent an entire winter north of the Arctic Circle. It refers to their tradition of protecting their sourdough during the coldest months by keeping it close to their body. The sourdough tradition was also carried out in Alaska and Western Canada during the Klondike Gold Rush itself.
Okay.
So
Why are you talking this way?
Protect that sourdough. Hold it close to your body.
John's a real fan of bread.
I am.
Let's crack open the history books, please.
All right,
Move
let's
on.
see what happened today in history. Oh, boy. 1976. Two guys in a garage found an Apple computer.
Oh.
Yeah, big news. Didn't start out big, though. Started out, do you know who?
So Bill Gates and...
Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak.
Oh, okay, that's right.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah.
They both sold off some pretty big ticket items to start the company. Steve Jobs had a Volkswagen van that he sold, and Wozniak had a calculator, which back then went for hundreds of dollars.
Yes, I know. Those calculators were very expensive.
1984, Marvin Gaye died. He was killed by his father.
Yeah.
Oh, that was awful.
Yeah.
Tragic. Yep.
2001, the Netherlands became the first country to grant marriage equality for same-sex couples.
2001.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
And then in 2004, Google debuted Gmail.
Really? 20 years ago?
Mm-hmm. Crazy. It's all I've ever known for email.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We had,
Yahoo?
AOL.
Hotmail? Oh, AOL.
Yeah,
AOL.
Yahoo.
You got mail.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
AOL.
we all had as what, the beginnings of the internet.
A lot of people had Yahoo, too.
Did they?
Yeah, Yahoo email.
Oh.
Some people still
Did
do.
not know that.
Hotmail, too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Some of those old ones are still around.
I actually have Hotmail.
Do you?
I really should have taken Microsoft up on replacing the name Hotmail. Now it's just, Outlook. .outlook. And I'm just...
You don't like Outlook anymore, though, right?
Outlook is having some problems updating their email program. It's ridiculous. And I can't copy and paste a link into the body of the email. But they do have a way to do it. I think at the top of the email, there's like a little link icon, and I guess I'm supposed to use that.
What happened to Mr. Johnny Techman?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, what happened to that?
Well, yeah.
Your sons inherited all of that.
Well, yeah, my sons took over. No, I'm not going to let that happen. I know that happens in families, but I'm not going to let them.
Well, you ask them
move
all the
ahead
time.
of me.
When you get stumped, you have to call the boys in.
I do, but
Give it up.
This is for difficult problems, not something simple as putting a link in the body of an email. But I do think there's that icon that does just that. But it seems like a lot of extra work. But I haven't tried it. I'm way too busy preparing for this program. I can't,
Really?
I can't think around just trying to solve problems on my computer all day.
You've got work to do.
I have work to do. My God. April Fool's Day. We got to
That's what it
keep
is.
reminding ourselves of that.
It's April. Oh,
Yeah.
boy. Where is it? Time gone.
It's about damn time we're in April. March seemed to go on forever.
It did. Well, we've got the Mean Farmer coming up. I don't know if we have time for him right now.
Sure, we can squeeze him in.
Are you sure?
Are you sure? Okay.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
What's the name of the episode this time?
Death and Taxes.
All right. I just want to intro this. Did you know there's a show called Farmer Wants a Wife? It's season 2 already on the networks, no less.
Okay.
Oh, no. Apparently, I'm not watching TV enough. All right, let's listen to the mean farmer, and he might be interested in this TV show, Farmer Wants a Wife.
You know.
All right, you know it.
Huh? This is the Mean Farmer. This week on the Mean Farmer Show, taxes, death, and taxes. Yeah, every year I face the same choice around April 15th. Should I pay my taxes or should I just go ahead and die? Yeah, I just go on down to H&R Block and sit down at the desk with a friendly tax preparer. Personally, I think they should wear black hoods and work with quill pens dipped in goat's blood and just them big, thick old candles burning on their desk. Anyway, I sit down, hand them my records, and mostly crumpled up and mixed up with chunks of plug tobacco in. Some scribbled on paper sacks, plastic chemical jugs, and, even this year's mileage logs branded on the side of one of last year's cutest calves. Yeah, that's usually when the nice lady tax person clad in polyester, 2 strings of fake pearls, blue hair, reeking of copy machine toner, and Liz Taylor chubby passion perfume starts to fidget and just sort of click away in her ad machine there. Any deductions, he says? Yeah, give $1 to the presidential fund, I say. Any money to an IRA, she says? Hell, I sent 14 old shotguns to the IRA this year. Damn that Maggie Thatcher. Any W-2s, she whispers. Nope, but here's an AK-47. Why don't you just shoot me now? Yeah, none of them tax preparers are any good with assault rifles, so I just make it on out of there, go home, fill out the extremely short form 1040. 1, how much did you make? 2, send it in. Oh, boy, sure hope they audit me again this year. I like them guys. Them IRS people, they remind me of me. Yeah, next week on the Mean Farmer Show, trouble at the Walmart. What do you mean my MasterCard's maxed out? Golly.
And there you go.
Okay, the Mean Farmer.
Another episode of Mean Farmer.
Getting us all ready for tax day.
April Fool's Day as well.
Mm-hmm. He's doing his thing.
He is.
Yeah. It is 6:29 on the dot, clear and 34 degrees. We've got news, weather, Pam Yonke with the Midwest Farm Report, and coming back with a piece from George Carlin on power.
Easter, the celebration of the rebirth of Christ. The Bible tells us that 3 days after the crucifixion of Jesus, he rose from the dead. The first to witness this miracle were 3 women who had come to anoint the body of Jesus and tend to his tomb. This is the story of the resurrection.
This is it, the tomb where his body is laid.
Mother Mary, dry your tears. Mary and I are here to support you.
Mary is right. Also, when we're done grieving, maybe we should come up with the girl's name other than Mary.
What is that noise that comes from within?
Look, the stone, it rolls away. Is it Jesus?
Basically, yes. Happy Easter, everybody. That's right, it's Easter, the time of year when I compare myself to Jesus Christ. That's just a thing I do now, and people seem to be okay with it. I'm going to keep doing it. And if you think that this is a bad look, imagine how weird it would be if I started selling Bibles. Well, I'm selling Bibles. Look at this beautiful Bible, made from 100% Bible. Sounds like a joke, and in many ways it is, but it's also very real. As you know, I love Bible. It's my favorite book. I've definitely read it. My favorite part is probably the ending, how it all wraps up. But this is a very special Bible, and it can be yours for the high price of $60. But I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing this for the glory of God and for pandering and mostly for money. But it's so sad. Religion and Christianity are totally gone from this country, and we need them back. Without religion, you don't have laws, you don't have mission trips. I'm told mission trips are a lot of fun. You go to Mexico, you build a house, maybe you make out with someone on the last night. Then, of course, it's back to Clearwater, Florida, like it never happened. But you're going to love my new, and I would say even better, Bible. It comes with everything you like from Bible, like the story of Easter, which primarily concerns Jesus, not so much the bunny. I kept waiting for the bunny to show up. He never showed up. That's okay. Anyway, it's Easter Eve, so let us bow our heads. I'm not going to, and say the Lord's Prayer, which we all know very well, me especially. Our Father who are in heaven, hallowed be bing 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 bong. Bing bong bing bing bing. Trespass daily bread. And please lead us into temptation and pay our automobiles. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Easter Bunny. Amen. And live from New York, it's Saturday night!
Funny thing is, I saw an actual video of Trump not knowing the words to the Lord's Prayer.
Yeah, he was kind of mouthing.
Every once in a while, a familiar line.
Yeah,
right.
I saw that video too. He doesn't really know it.
He doesn't know it at all. Great takeoff on it. Mm-hmm. It's a good bit.
It is. Yeah. Yeah, and we've got another SNL clip coming up a little bit later on, too.
Right. Well,
Weekend
it's
update.
April Fool's Day.
That's right.
And we're celebrating here, as usual, as we always do on the program. Mm-hmm. We pick a day, and we celebrate it ad nauseum.
Well, why not, April Fool's Day? Yeah. People are trying to come up with different little pranks they can play at work or, with their family or whatever. I don't know. Anybody got a really good one? You can call us and clue us in. Give us a call, 608-879-8255, or text us.
Absolutely.
What's the best prank that either you have ever pulled or have had pulled on you before?
Well, I'm not a prankster myself.
I can't think of anything, but I know my parents used to do this, and my dad, every day he used to go get my mother a cup of coffee and bring it to her in the bedroom. So he would go down, he'd make the coffee. He'd bring the coffee in, and she would wake up to, a cup of hot coffee. Well, one April Fool's Day, he went down and he put a a mixture of syrup and I don't know what else, castor oil or something that looked like coffee.
Wow.
And he brought it up and she took a sip and she threw it across the room and hit the wall. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Wow. April Fool didn't work out very good for Dad that year. So, yeah.
That can be the result of a practical joke.
Yeah, anger.
Yeah.
Anger and, yeah.
Anger,
retribution
that never quite goes away.
Yes. Yeah. No pranks on your side of the deal here, huh?
I just no.
Yeah.
I'm not a prankster.
Yeah.
None of my family members are pranksters. No, we never played jokes on each other.
You better wait till you get home.
Well, yeah.
Be careful. So they're listening.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Hey, we got another comedy bit.
Do we?
Yeah, you promised it. And
That's right.
I think we have to fulfill our promises here on the program, as we always do. People are keeping track.
We got George Carlin.
Yes, we got George Carlin here, and he's talking about democracy being a myth, and freedom of choice is a fairy tale. Mm-hmm. So let's hear it from George Carlin.
Out in the open now. They're not even trying to conceal it anymore. The owners of the country they got their election. They said, we're going to get this election. We put you people in that court for a reason.
All right,
now's
back
the time
to
to pay
earth
us.
for you now.
Yeah, forget all that stupid. Will you? They're out in the open. They're openly driving the bus, and we're all in the back.
There is no national conspiracy to buy elections and control America. Now talk about back to earth. Conspiracy, but
you don't need a formal conspiracy.
Right.
When interests converge, these people went to the same universities and fraternities. They're on the same boards of directors. They're in the same country clubs. They have like interests. They don't need to call a meeting. They know what's good for them, and they're getting it. And there used to be 7 oil companies. There are now 3. It will soon be 2. The things that matter in this country have been reduced in choice. There are 2 political parties. There are a handful of insurance companies. There are about 6 or 7 information things. But if you want a bagel, there are 23 flavors because you have the illusion. You have the illusion of choice. Right. You don't get the real important choice. There's no freedom of choice.
There you go.
Yeah. So much of that has come true.
Yeah. That was on Bill Maher's program many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But that is so true. They just converge. All their ideas, all the billionaires and millionaires are all on the same page, essentially. And one of the things that, in the back of my mind, I remember, reading this article where I don't know whether it was Uline or one of the billionaires spoke point blank about what their intention is, and that is that they want to privatize education so that taxpayers pay for their child's education. These are billionaires looking for taxpayer money to pay for their child's education. I couldn't wrap my head around that for the longest time. It just doesn't seem to make sense. Are you having trouble paying your bills? But it's very selfish, very unusual.
Well, I wonder if how Eric Hovde's doing with all his millions. I didn't see too many ads lately. He kind of pulled back on something. Maybe the first ones didn't go anywhere, get any good reaction.
I think he's working on a stand-up routine, making it a little funnier, a little more relevant. All right. But we do have some other things here that we want to get to.
Okay.
And one of them is the donations that Trump is certainly begging for at this point. We've featured a few other cuts prior, and I just thought we'd try that again. And
he's got the gold sneakers. He's got the Bible.
Right.
He's hawking.
Right. Yep.
What, there's more.
Well, now it's just point blank. Hey, give me $5. So why don't we go to cut 608? And then right after that, 609, and let's find out what he's saying about getting a little bit more money to help him out.
Right.
The ones that I love are those $25 of those $5 people. They are great because I know one thing, they're going to be voting. So I just want to thank everybody out there for making your donation, whether it's $5 or $25. I just want to thank you very much. We're going to make our country great again. We're going to take back our nation from communists, fascists, people that are sick, people that I truly believe don't love our nation. We're going to make America great again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. No. We'll just give you the money right now.
Sure.
Let's continue. This is another.
Democrats stand by quietly and bite their tongue, not even pass the Laken Riley bill under her name. It's because they want to infiltrate this country with people here illegally so that in 20 years, that's only 5 election cycles, Maria, 5 presidential election cycles, all the children they have will become automatic citizens.
Yeah. This might have been a number goof up.
Yeah, 609?
Yes, this is 609, but this might be the wrong 609.
It could be the wrong one.
We got a text in here. We were talking about National Sourdough Bread Day and April Fools. April Fools Day. Mark texted in. Perhaps now I'm not familiar with what he's talking about here, but maybe we can look this up. Perhaps in honor of both April 1st and National Sourdough Bread Day, a reading of Robert Service's The Ballad of Ice Worm Cocktail is apropos. A Tale of a Good Joke. Do you have any idea what that's about?
No, The Ballad of Ice Worm Cocktail.
We want to Google that and see if we can find anything.
Did you find the other cut? Okay,
let's go back to that.
Let's go back to Trump again,
gears,
asking for a little money here.
These Soros-backed prosecutors and politicians, Democrats, all that are after us, we have to go out, we have to fight. They're communists, they're fascists, they're lunatics, and they just don't stop. They don't know how to give up, and you got to hand it to them for that. But that's the only thing you got to give them credit for. They're bad people. They're against our country. They don't want our country to make it. There's something wrong with them. But we're fighting. We're winning. You see what's going on. So whatever you can do to help financially would be fantastic, because we have to beat it. If it's $5 or $10 or $100, whatever you can do.
And if you don't have the money, you don't have to donate. He's giving you that way out. That's very nice of him to do that for us.
Yeah. He's kind of struggling apparently.
Yeah, just a little. Are you looking up this the Ballad of Ice Worm Cocktail? I don't.
Oh, maybe Mark can
inform us some more on
that.
The reading of Robert Service's. Now that must be. Is that a long reading? It's like
I don't know.
A book.
It's a tale of a good joke, though, according to Mark.
Yep.
We'll keep that on the back burner. We'll see if we can find out more. All right.
Think we can find out more? I hope so. All right.
Do we want to go to that other cut on Trump? This is a nice little montage about Trump knows everything.
He does.
He knows everything.
He does.
That's why he wants to be a dictator, because he's got the answers for every single thing. Right, Sam? It's cut 1.
I don't think we have quite enough time to fit in everything that Donald Trump knows.
It must be April Fool's Day. Everything is falling apart. Everything we're touching here is not...
Well, time slipped away.
It has. Time marches on.
How long?
And it's
1 minute?
No, 2.
2 minutes.
2
My
minutes.
God.
Well, let's go back to April Fool's history. You know when April Fool's started, John?
No.
Back in, according to the Farmer's Almanac, it started way back in France in 1564. Yeah. April 1st was back then, they were working on a different calendar. So April 1st was celebrated as New Year's Day.
Oh, beautiful.
Completely different calendar. Those who insisted on celebrating the old New Year's became known as April Fools. See, they were switching over to a new calendar, but the people on the old calendar that were celebrating New Year's Day on April Fools, they became known as April Fools.
Can you imagine the MAGAs back then? I mean, that would have just been crazy, right? They would have just said, oh, well, that's Biden.
That's right. Other evidence that April Fool's Day existed way back then, 1564. I mentioned that. Geoffrey Chaucer referenced it in Canterbury Tales.
Yes.
When characters of a rooster and a fox each did tricks on one another, according to Farmer's Almanac. Also goes back to 1300s, even farther back, when the events of a date described as March 32nd, there was a March 32nd back in the 1300s.
No kidding.
Was also known as April Fool's Day. So it's convoluted.
Well, that's why.
Farmer's Almanac.
It was a joke, right?
April. It was a
March
joke.
32nd.
It's all just a joke. 6:49. We're coming right back. And, get this, Nicole Wallace got frustrated, threw her newspapers into the air on the air.
Yeah, she was really frustrated about all of what's going on right now.
We got that.
We'll get that.
Coming up.
I know that you need me.
WMDX 92.7 FM at 1580 AM. The John and Gordy Show, broadcasting live from State Street, Madison, Wisconsin, and a good morning to everyone on an April Fool's Day. It was going to be a very special John and Gordy Go Mega April Fool's Day, but then again, you can tune into any right-wing radio station and get April Fools each and every day of the year.
That's right. So we let them have that.
Yes. It was a good idea, and then it just ended there. Our brainstorming
seemed like a lot of work.
It got cut short for some reason.
Right. Well, it was Easter. We wanted to spend time with the families. You know.
You know.
Right, yeah. So did we find what we were looking for when we were so rudely interrupted by the clock?
We're going to play Nicole Wallace.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Nicole Wallace. What happened here?
She's a right-winger, She's on MSNBC, but she's very, very thoughtful. Right?
Yes. Yeah, she worked in Republican, she worked for George W. Bush, I believe, in the White House way back.
But she's had it.
She has. Well, she gets a little upset.
We've all had it.
Yes.
And she exemplified our frustration. Horrified by Trump's attack on Judge Merchan's daughter, Nicole Wallace is basically done with the whole thing.
Giving up.
And let's check what Nicole Wallace. By the way, you'll hear paper shuffling just in the very beginning if you can. That's her throwing her entire show up into the air.
Love it when that happens.
Yeah,
we do that every once in a while.
It's a great visual. Okay, let's check it out.
It's time to do something different. We're not going to have this conversation again. I have come on the air with breaking news about requests for gag orders because of threats for judges and their kids more times than I could count today before I got ready. And Judge Ludig, I think it's time, I don't know who has to write the banners at the bottom of my show. I'm sorry in advance. But Donald Trump broke the rule of law. We should cover a broken judiciary in this country. Donald Trump managed to delay every federal criminal trial based on facts that he barely denies. Donald Trump managed to enlist the Supreme Court in a delay process, the highest court in the land. Donald Trump brazenly and repeatedly attacks not just judges, and I've had the privilege of sitting across not just from you, Judge Ludig, but from Judge Esther Salas, whose son was assassinated by a crazy person. Judges don't have Secret Service protecting them. They don't even always have, her child answered the door. What are we going to do different? Because Donald Trump sure as hell isn't changing.
Pretty good. And it's a frustration we all have. We're watching all of these courts basically delay what's going to happen to Donald Trump. Intentionally, it seems like it. Some of these people are judges that he put in place himself or justices that he put in place himself. So the judicial system is so broken at this point. I'm so frustrated. I mentioned it a lot on this program already, how frustrated I am with the legal system. It is. We never had anybody challenge the legal system like this with endless amounts of dollars. So now he is doing that, and we're seeing just how broken this whole thing is.
He's done this his entire career.
Yes.
Starting in New York, just kicking the can down the road.
As a developer.
Hiring more lawyers to just, slow down the judicial process, to block it any way he can, and then try to make a deal somewhere toward the end of the deal, the court proceedings.
Yeah.
He's trying it again this time, and so far it's he's succeeding.
Yeah, absolutely.
Delaying all these trials.
A lot of people are getting frustrated, not only Nicole Wallace, but Chris Hayes. All the networks are now picking up on the fact that the Supreme Court and other conservative courts around the country have been weaponized, basically, against democracy to benefit Trump. And now here's Chris Hayes, cut 600. And this is his frustration.
They didn't make a decision, the Supreme Court. They just ran out the clock. They just didn't do anything. And then it got so close to the election that they're going to go ahead and use the South Carolina map, the map that the lower court judges evaluated and said was racist and unconstitutional, because the Supreme Court just couldn't get motivated enough to hit any deadlines and rule on the case. The Supreme Court knows what it's doing. The justices know what they're doing. These aren't freshmen in their first few weeks of college, overwhelmed by assignments, trying to figure out how to get it all done. This was not an oversight. The justices know that if they don't act, the maps stay in place. And the conservative majority knows that the current map will favor the Republican Party, and that if it's changed, it will favor the Democrats. So by not acting, they have acted. Mm-hmm. By delaying, they have made something in the world happen. They think they are very clever. They think they can get away with it because no one is paying attention. But we are paying attention. We see what they're doing. We know the conservative majority of the Supreme Court decided to let black voters continue to be discriminated against in South Carolina this year in violation of the Constitution.
And they're doing that all over the country.
Yeah.
It's kind of in stark contrast. The Supreme Court here in our state has made these things run quicker. They have changed and reformed the court in order to hear cases faster and come to decisions sooner, which is, it's a stark contrast to what's going on nationwide in the courts that Donald Trump is trying to manipulate at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what's happening. And you're right. Yeah, since the Supreme Court of Wisconsin flipped, and became more liberal, they're getting some stuff done. They're pushing things through.
Exactly.
Right?
I wonder how long that'll last.
Yeah. I know.
There are new Supreme Court justices up for re-election, and we'll see how that goes. But it's amazing to me that Wisconsin voters don't see what is happening and, try to rectify it, even if it's against their own best interests. Maybe it's a more conservative justice. Mm-hmm. But when you see what happened with the conservative justices prior to the new liberal majority that's there, things were kind of scary. One justice choked another justice. A Republican justice choked a liberal justice. And that was never resolved.
When did that happen?
That was Justice Prosser.
Really?
Yeah. And Prosser was also a legislator at one time, a Republican legislator. So when that happened, there was no penalty for Prosser choking another justice.
Seems like there should be.
Yes,
should have been.
But they delayed it. They changed the rules, and they never came to a decision, saying that, other justices can't make the decision for anybody.
6:58, we've got news, weather, and sports straight ahead. And when we come back, Trump knows everything. He knows it all.
John and Gordy in the morning. As we were saying, let the sun shine. It's the John and Gordy Show. 7 is the place to go.
Coffee. We need coffee. Where's our coffee guy?
Yeah.
We need him.
Where are all of them? You know?
Yeah.
Hey, does anybody want coffee?
Yeah, over here.
Who wants coffee?
Sam, get him over this way.
We gotta toss a net on him or something.
He's leaving.
Pull him into the
again.
studio.
Does anybody want coffee?
Over here.
He's going out to the people in the street.
He's going to chase the leaf blower guy out there.
Yeah, the leaf blower guy. Well,
He's got one leaf.
We figured him out. you know?
Yeah.
He bought that leaf at Michael's. It's a decorative leaf.
Yeah.
He throws it on the ground, and he just kind of leads it down State Street.
Yeah. And then when he's done, he just takes that leaf, puts it back in his pocket, and
You know,
waits for tomorrow.
You know, we could spring for a new leaf.
It's like you're taking the dog for a walk, except it's your leaf and you use a leaf blower instead of a leash.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think he's got quite the service going, and this keeps him in practice. And I
think so.
understand that.
Yeah. He's ready. He's ready for
fall.
For fall. He's really ready. 34 degrees this morning, clear skies. We may see some rain later on today, and highs in the low to mid 40s. We've got something here. You know, we've been talking about Donald Trump, of course, because how can we not? I mean, it's just every day.
Trump ramps up inflammatory rhetoric as critics begin getting frustrated. See, people are getting frustrated by this because no one else can sit there and threaten and criticize the judge or his daughter or anybody else for that matter without some repercussions.
Yeah.
Being locked away, maybe.
You know, Donald Trump's just, he's only running for president so he can stay out of jail.
Exactly.
And then become a dictator if he happens to win. So it's a choice of a democracy or a dictatorship. And that's what it's coming down to.
It seems to me like the press, I know it's covering this all the time.
Yeah.
You know, he's threatened this judge, he's threatened his daughter. They're getting, obviously, death threats.
Mm-hmm.
They're waiting. They're stringing this thing out. They're waiting for somebody to get hurt. Some kind of fatal accident of some sort that they have created by delaying holding Trump accountable. If we just stop talking about how he's doing it and that he's constantly doing it, make it seem like it's the wrong thing to do.
He's violating all the gag orders that have been placed on him, just blatantly doing that, and nobody will throw him in jail.
He reminds me a little bit of Al Capone. He just kind of does whatever he wants, and he has his hands in all the judges' pockets, and nobody does anything about it.
If we saw a performance like this in a movie, we would say, no, this isn't real. This is
couldn't
way
happen
too
this way.
fictionalized.
Yep. Well, and he wants to be a dictator because he knows everything.
He does
right?
know everything.
Yeah, here, let's listen to this.
All right.
He knows everything. Listen.
Nobody knows this stuff better than me.
Right. Nobody knows more about taxes than I do and income than I do.
Nobody knows more about construction than I do.
Nobody knows more about campaign finance than I do.
I know more about drones than anybody.
Nobody knows much more about technology, this type of technology, certainly, than I do.
Nobody knows more about technology than me.
Nobody in the history of this country has ever known so much about infrastructure as Donald Trump.
I know the H-1B. I know the H-2B. Nobody knows it better than me.
I know more about ISIS than the generals do, believe me. I understand things. I comprehend very well, okay? Better than, I think, almost anybody.
And by the way, who knew the other side of the picture better than me? I knew it.
Nobody knows more about environmental impact statements than me. I understand the power of Facebook. Maybe better than almost anybody.
I know more about renewables than any human being on Earth.
Nobody knows more about polls than me.
I know more about courts than any human being on Earth.
I know more about steelworkers than anybody that's ever run for office.
I know more about golf than Obama knows.
Nobody knows more about banks than I do.
Nobody knows more about trade than me.
Well, obviously, he doesn't know about nuclear weapons. I know more about nuclear weapons than he'll ever know.
I understand the tax laws better than almost anyone.
Who knows more about lawsuits than I do? I'm the king. I know more about offense and defense than they will ever understand.
Nobody even understands it but me. It's called devaluation. I understand money better than anybody.
I understand the system better than anybody. Nobody knows more about debt than I do.
Nobody knows the game better than me.
I know more about contributions than anybody.
And who knows more about the word apprentice than Donald Trump?
I understand politicians better than anybody.
Nobody knows politicians better than me.
Who knows the other side better than me? Who knows the other side better than me?
I think I know more about the other side than almost anybody.
And I understand the other side
Perhaps I understand it better than anybody else.
I was the fair-haired boy. Nobody knows more about it than me. I know more than these politicians. These guys don't know anything.
I know a lot. I know more than I'm ever going to tell you. The truth is, I'm actually a modest person. Very modest. It's true.
Laughter.
God, that's an amazing compilation.
I know.
He must be a human
everything.
encyclopedia. He just has so much knowledge.
He's got all the answers. Yeah, there you have it.
And yet he doesn't know anything at all.
Completely clueless.
That
really.
is that I'm just stunned
But,
that they were able to compile that much.
But he says it over and over and over again,
Yeah.
and some people believe him.
Jeez.
You know?
The fire hose of falsehoods.
That's it.
There it is.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, now should we get a little closer to home here,
Okay.
and let's talk about the Zucker bucks. Zucker put a little bit of money in, and it was combined with other fundraisers, and then they put this money in to the COVID election, the primary that was being held in Wisconsin, because they needed masks and sanitizers and shields and all that kind of stuff that the Republicans were on vacation. They could not have come back from vacation to deal with that because it's just not important enough. And it's really basically a left-wing plot. It's a scheme that we have. We just created this thing. So anyway, Zuckerbucks came in, and now the Republicans have an amendment or a referendum to put an amendment on our state constitution in order to prevent any kind of privatization of funding elections here in the state. Now, I thought this was very, very interesting stuff. There's a columnist for the Journal Sentinel. He tweeted, "The questions that will appear on the ballot in April will constitutionalize the current legislature's preference for election administration, which are rooted in conspiracy theories." Okay? Now, that comment prompted Rick Essenberg of the Wisconsin Law and Liberty Institute, I love these institutes, to make a comment himself, a ridiculous, nonsensical response, claiming they convinced megas in this state that the money wasn't an influence in 2020. Now, can you believe this? This is like the conspiracy is that this Zuckerbuck funding got out the vote for Democrats, and that's why Trump lost in the state. All right?
Yeah.
So that's the conspiracy. But according to Rick Essenberg, no, that's not true. This is his comment. "This is just flat out false. Opposing private money in election administration is not rooted in conspiracy theories or any particular preference for election administration, other than that it is not to be outsourced to private money. The fact that I and the Wisconsin Law and Liberty support the amendment is proof, since we debunked those conspiracy theories and moved a lot of conservatives away from them. You're welcome."
This was Essenberg?
Yep. Rick Essenberg is saying this. He's convinced everybody, all the megas in the state, no, that's not the reason. There's no conspiracy. We just don't want private companies donating and taking care of the people in our elections. All right? That's his point.
Right.
Apparently, he's overstating the Institute's ability to influence people. And by the way, WISC GOP didn't get that memo. Here's WISC GOP's chair, Brian Schimming, with a conspiracy. He wrote this: "Send a message to liberal out-of-state billionaires to keep their hands off fairness in the local Wisconsin elections." That suggests that there's a conspiracy here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. And then, of course, we have Tom Tiffany, who also voted yes already in regards to these amendments. Let's check out what Tom says in cut 604.
Hi, everyone. Congressman Tom Tiffany here. This Tuesday is more than just primary day. It's a chance for you and I to take a stand and rid Wisconsin elections of Zuckerbucks forever. For years, out-of-state private interests have interfered in our elections and unfairly tipped the scales against conservatives by pumping money into election offices. Since the last presidential election, more than $10 million worth of Zuckerbucks have been pumped into Wisconsin election offices by left-wing donors, even purchasing mobile vans to operate as clerks' offices in order to collect votes in overwhelmingly Democrat wards. That simply is not right. Anyone with common sense knows that fair and free elections depend on municipal clerks and election officials serving the people, not left-wing billionaires. Thankfully, you and I can make a difference. I've already voted yes on questions 1 and 2, and I hope next Tuesday you will also. We can make sure out-of-state dark money can no longer infiltrate our elections. And above all, we will make sure everyone has a fair shot at the polls this November. So join me at the polls this Tuesday and vote yes on questions 1 and 2 and help us protect Wisconsin's elections from out-of-state billionaires.
Protect them from what?
Yep.
There's no conspiracy. They're
Right.
not trying to influence anybody.
No.
I don't know. I think Rick Essenberg is a little bit wrong on this one. Wisconsin Law and Liberty. What a crazy name for an institute. They were very powerful once when the Republican Supreme Court was there, listening to all his cases and then approving every one of his cases, winning every one of those cases. There's another ad. An ad came out. There's no conspiracy at all.
No, there's no conspiracy.
The ad says, keep dark money and liberal billionaires out of our elections.
Right.
There's not another conspiracy. Certainly
Exclamation
nothing
point.
right there.
Yep. Well, primaries tomorrow, right?
Yep.
So, a chance to get out and make your voice heard.
It's just unbelievable stuff. I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They've been pumping this thing. It got out the vote. Democrats were told both the Zucker money to go out and vote, and yet it's not true. Thank you, Rick, for standing up and getting that message out there. No one got the memo. No one.
Nobody. Paul Ryan, we've got a comment from him coming up.
We do.
Yeah. But first, it's 19 minutes past the hour. Clear skies, 34. Maybe rain later on today. Yeah, we'll have Paul Ryan.
On the hill, sees the sun going down, and the eyes in his head see the world spinning round.
Radio, WMDX, 92.7 FM at 1580 AM. Capital City, Madison, the John and Gordy program. Special April Fool's Day edition.
Yep. We're not fooling anybody, though. Not today.
No.
No, we're nothing but truth.
That's right.
Truth and justice right here. Right? Yeah. And Paul Ryan came to some truth, right?
He did. He finally
he's
has
coming
seen
out of
the
the woodwork. Yeah, he's seen the light. Yeah, kind of late in the game.
Just a bit. Yeah.
But
he thinks that Trump is a populist, authoritarian narcissist. Now, of course, we have been saying that all along.
Right.
So it wasn't a new idea. It wasn't something he came up with on his own. But again, Democrats never get credit for bringing these things up first. So let's check out what Paul Ryan had to say the other day, 595.
Okay.
All right.
How do you think, because you're a student of history, we're going to look back on, or how will history regard people like Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger and people of their ilk? And maybe it's just the two of them.
Yeah, I mean, they're friends of mine. I think they called out, look, Trump's not a conservative. He's an authoritarian narcissist. So I think they basically called him out for that. He's a populist authoritarian narcissist. So historically speaking, all of his tendencies are, basically where narcissism takes him, which is whatever makes him popular, makes him feel good at any given moment. And he doesn't think in classical liberal conservative terms. He thinks in an authoritarian way. And he's been able to get a big chunk of the Republican base to follow him because, he's the culture warrior. And so I think Adam and Liz stepped out of the flow and called it out and, paid for it with their careers. But I think, again, back to my earlier point, I don't think you can be really very good at these jobs unless you're willing to lose these jobs. And there has to be some line, some principle that is so important to you that you're just not going to cross, so that when you're brushing your teeth in the morning, you look at yourself in the mirror, you like what you see. I think Adam and Liz are brushing their teeth liking what they see.
Yeah.
And I think there are a lot of people in Congress, good friends of mine, who would take the vote back if they could.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of these members of Congress, like on the second impeachment, they thought Trump was dead. They thought after January 6th, he wasn't going to have a comeback. He was dead. So they figured, I'm not going to take this heat. I'm going to vote against this impeachment because he's gone anyway. But what's happened is he's been resurrected. There's lots of reasons for that, but he has been. So I think there's a lot of people who already regret not, getting him out of the way when they could have, like an impeachment.
Like you.
So I think history will be kind to those people who saw what was happening and called it out, even though it was at the expense of their personal well-being.
So history won't be kind to you, Paul. Never took it back.
Well, at least, better late than never.
I would
seen
think
the
so.
light.
Yeah.
He was right there.
Bruce Bartlett, he's a historian now. He used to be a former Treasury Secretary. He said this, it reminds me of the old adage, we are too soon old and too late smart.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the phones right now. We have Mark on the line. Mark, thanks for calling.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, it's just sad that that Paul Ryan spoke out a hell of a lot earlier that none of those Republicans that voted against the impeachment should have. They should have voted to impeach Trump. They didn't have the balls to impeach the man.
Exactly.
Right.
They took an oath to support the Constitution, and the guy was guilty of insurrection. I mean, that prima facie evidence shows he was, in charge of running the whole show. Back from way before the election even occurred, he was priming people up for this, and every time I hear Tom Tiffany's name, that annoys me greatly. I just saw.
Oh, I agree.
A couple of days ago, where Tom Tiffany apparently was trying to force his way into some immigrant services office, and they actually had to call the cops on him.
Wow. Did not
get him out of there.
Did not know that.
We'll check into that.
Wow.
Okay.
It is just that.
Yeah.
The talentless men that are in the Republican Party and women, and that Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty, it makes me gag when I say law and liberty in association with them, is that they're just, the whole Zuckerbucks thing too is just, there are probably as many conservative communities got Zuckerbucks as did,
right.
the Democratic communities, and because it was open to everybody. And they just needed the money to run their elections. So the legislature should step up and fund our elections.
Exactly.
Right. Okay, Mark.
All right.
Thanks, brothers.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
For the point. Let's go to Dick now. Dick, welcome to the John and Gordy Show.
Good morning.
Good morning. Can I add somebody to this list?
Sure.
It would be Charlie Sykes. He's almost as bad a hire. It drives me nuts when I see him on MSNBC. And then they hawk his book, How the Right Lost Its Mind. No, Charlie, it should be the right never had a mind. For any group of people that are so easily brainwashed by the likes of Donald Trump, you never had a mind. You never thought for yourself. So he's on the list with Paul Ryan. he was obviously one of the architects of all this stuff with Walker.
Yeah.
Well, he has come out and admitted that. Now, you have to give him credit for that. Would you not give him credit for at least admitting that he was wrong and he was part of the movement that created the megas today?
I guess, but awful begrudgingly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Dick.
All right, Dick. I appreciate it. I have given way too much credit, possibly, to Charlie Sykes.
Well,
I've never said a bad thing about him after he has made that conversion, because if you can convert somebody and they see the light, I got to give him credit for at least that.
Right.
Okay?
It's just frustrating that they're Johnny-come-latelys to this.
That's the frustrating
part.
part.
They knew this.
And
they knew it going in.
They created this whole wave.
Right.
They jumped on board with Scott Walker's plan to divide and conquer. He came right out and said that verbally. So they picked up on it. They knew they were tools of the Walker administration, and they were willing tools. Now he has changed, but I want to talk to Charlie Sykes, because now lately he's been talking about how he's still a conservative. Now he has made, as Dick mentioned, he's been on MSNBC an awful lot. He was their go-to guy.
Yeah.
Now he has sat through what? The hosts on those shows.
Yeah.
Basically ranting about, the liberal agenda. So what is he thinking? And here's the other thing. He is invited on a liberal show. And, liberals are not invited on right-wing radio at all. So maybe he has changed his mind a little bit. I'm really curious to see what he thinks of the liberal or the left now. Because they've given him a chance to speak his mind.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, we'd like to, we're going to reach out to him. I think we've got some people doing that.
Yeah.
And we'd love to get him on here, too.
We'll see.
All right.
We'll see what happens.
Hey, coming up Wednesday, of course, we will be at Short Stack Eatery. We do this every Wednesday morning, broadcast live from 6 to 8 a.m. We invite you to stop by. We think maybe John Erpenbach may stop by.
What do you think?
I'd like to see him.
An old radio partner. We want to talk to him. We want to get a little reunion back
Former
again.
legislator.
Yeah.
News, weather, and sports straight ahead. We're coming back with more about immigrants now voting as naturalized citizens, right?
Yep.
Yeah, coming up.
It's Weekend Update with Colin Jost and Michael Che.
Welcome to Weekend Update. I'm Michael Che.
I'm Colin Jost. Well, 4 presidents visited New York City at the same time on Thursday, 3 to do a joint fundraiser at Radio City, and 1 selling Bibles door to door. Donald Trump has partnered with country music star Lee Greenwood to sell a $60 special edition of the Bible that also includes the Constitution, the lyrics to Greenwood's God Bless the USA, and I assume God's letter of resignation. This Bible is mostly the same, but Trump's version ends with Jesus' disciples storming Jerusalem to overturn the results of the crucifixion. Trump also posted this video urging his followers to buy it.
All Americans need a Bible in their home, and I have many.
Many. I actually believe he has many Bibles. I'm sure he's been sent thousands of Bibles with a note that says, please read this.
More than 5,000 people attended a Democratic fundraiser at Radio City Music Hall featuring big-name celebrities like Barack Obama, Stephen Colbert, and Lizzo, as well as lesser-known celebrities like President Joe Biden.
This week, Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed after it was struck by a cargo ship that was carrying, you won't believe it, Boeing airplanes.
NBC News cut ties with Ronna McDaniel after many network hosts protested her hiring. And I'm actually very disappointed, only because I thought Ronna McDaniel was a drag version of Ronald McDonald. LA Dodgers star Shohei Ohtani was forced to fire his interpreter over gambling and theft allegations. Reached for comment. Ohtani said something in Japanese. There's no way of knowing what he said.
The CEO of Boeing announced that he's stepping down in the wake of the company's ongoing safety issues. And on his way out, he held up a bunch of nuts and bolts and said, good luck figuring out where these were supposed to go.
Mad Radio 92.7 WMDX. John and Gordy show for an April Fool's Monday. Glad to have you along with us. 608-879-8255. Taking your calls and texts. 34 degrees, highs in the low 40s. Maybe some rain along the way this afternoon. Yeah.
We got a few people giving us feedback on what we're talking about Charlie Sykes.
Yeah, we got some texts. Yeah.
And one thank you for reminding everybody that Charlie Sykes abetted and aided the GOP propaganda machine for years. They should be prepared for him to revert to GOP talking points when Trump is gone. I agree. I'm getting that feeling. Mm-hmm. It will come as a shock to MSNBC viewers who have come to think of him as a reliable source.
Yeah. Got another one here.
Yeah. There are many ex-GOP conservatives on MSNBC and CNN who don't like Trump. But somehow they get labeled left-wing simply for that reason. They're not. The George Carlin clip you played today has more intelligent insight than most of these TV commentators.
Mm-hmm. It's Donna in DeForest. Thank you for that text.
Yeah, that's fantastic. We're going to get into a little immigration news here. This is really interesting stuff. And all the MAGAs that are bashing immigration and promising massive removals once Trump is back as president, better look out because there are a lot of new immigrants out there who have become citizens. Let's check this out. This was on WKOW the other day, cut 605.
Nearly 47,000 immigrants in Wisconsin are expected to become eligible to apply for citizenship this year.
As the number of naturalized immigrants continues to grow at significant rates in recent years, it raises the question on how these new American voters are set to impact the outcome of this year's general election. In 2022, 969,000 immigrants became U.S. citizens, the highest number in 15 years. Since the 2020 presidential election, U.S. Citizen and Immigration Services reports that close to 4,800 immigrants have received citizenship across the state each year. I spoke with Nancy Flores, Deputy Director for the National Partnership for New Americans based in Milwaukee. Flores says while anti-immigration rhetoric and policies increased significantly under the Trump administration, it's resulted in a spike of lawful permanent residents applying for citizenship. Flores says engaging naturalized citizens will be just as critical as outreach to any other voting bloc this cycle.
There you go.
So 47,000 immigrants in Wisconsin expected to become eligible.
Right.
And then close to 4,800.
Well, no, 4,800 got their citizenship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
And then 47,000 are going to become eligible.
Mm-hmm.
That is just fantastic.
Number.
What a great number. And all the bashing basically has, created blowback, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
And that's not too bad. In fact, here's a little bit of that bashing that we were talking about. Cut 609. Let's check that out. This is
Democrats stand by quietly and bite their tongue, not even pass the Lake and Riley bill under her name. It's because they want to infiltrate this country with people here illegally so that in 20 years, that's only 5 election cycles, Maria, 5 presidential election cycles, that all the children they have who will become automatic citizens and will vote, and all the people who have come here that they hope to give citizenship and will vote, that they can take over all these swing states so that they never lose the White House again. And God help us. Look where we are today with everything he's shoving down our throats in America that could never pass the Congress or never pass the Senate, but through executive orders, he continues to cram down policies that America doesn't want. And the border security is number one. The question is, why is he doing it? It's clear. To take over America. It's the leftist plan, and he's the puppet master, or the puppet, and the puppet master is has him dangling on the strings pretty well.
There you go. The great replacement theory. It's okay. And it's a little convoluted, certainly, the idea is that he project. That is, by the way, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick.
Okay.
Texas. Okay, just to give you a little identification there of the voice we just heard.
Right.
It's crazy stuff. It's crazy talk, and obviously it is immigration bashing as at its best.
Mm-hmm. And, you would think that they would want to welcome the immigrants and try to get some of those votes and make it a little, more streamlined to get through and get into the system. And then they could also participate perhaps as, voters that could vote either way.
Of course,
they're setting it up.
He's saying, well, the president is doing all of this on his own.
Yeah,
he would have signed something, an agreement between the Senate and the House.
Mm-hmm.
It was streamlined. It was going to pass, and suddenly Trump said, don't pass it.
Right.
And
that put the brakes on.
Yeah. Biden said, if I sign this, I'll close the border immediately.
Right.
And then they stopped the bill.
It's crazy.
So, it doesn't rely on Biden at this point doing something about border. It relies on the Congress and, politicians getting together and agreeing to something, anything, legislation that becomes law. And then that can produce probably better results. A way into this country as a citizen, work permits, probably an increase in that. We need reform when it comes to those work permits in this country because, the dairy industry in Wisconsin, of course, needs year-round permits for those people, and they don't have it. They treat dairy workers as seasonal, which is crazy. You can't stop milking cows.
No, you can't. Twice a day.
I don't know. I don't even know how that's lasted decade after decade. But apparently, the farmers aren't lobbying enough. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is on that. Okay. That's a little frustrating, though. This immigration problem is just, it's manufactured, and they're just doing this leading up to the election.
Yeah, I want to mention tomorrow we have a guest in the studio here. We'll have Paula Severson from Dane Buy Local. She'll be here with John and Gordy tomorrow morning. So join us for that.
All right.
Okay.
Hey, I found this interesting tweet.
Okay.
From Mark Hamill.
All right.
You know Mark Hamill.
Yeah,
right?
Star Wars dude. Yeah.
I wasn't sure you saw the movie.
I saw the first two, and that was enough. So that's it.
Really?
Yeah. First two, and I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Oh,
It's
okay.
yeah.
So you're not into the science fiction stuff?
Not totally. You know, I like.
What genre do you like?
Well, I like science fiction. I just don't like endless episodes that go on forever, and and they bring it back, and
you couldn't even
now we're
finish
doing
the original trilogy. Come on, Gordy.
No, I couldn't.
Come on.
No, 2 was enough. I was like, okay, I get it.
It's so
it's
bleak.
Star
It
Wars.
ends so dismal and sad.
I'll tell you, there's a British show called Year After Year. Have you heard of this? This is a BBC. It is a little science fiction. It's looking into the future, but the near future, and everything starts breaking down. The economic system starts breaking down. The government starts breaking down. It's a great series. It's a limited series, 6 episodes.
John can't watch dystopian stuff anymore.
Year
right?
after year.
Exactly.
I'll tell you, this sounds really
interesting.
This is really good. You should check it. It's
currently on right now?
I believe it's on HBO now.
Oh.
So you should check it out.
Okay.
Year after year.
Okay, year after year.
Yeah.
Anyway,
tell me. Yeah.
What was Luke Hamill saying?
Back to Luke Hamill.
Or Mark Hamill, not Luke Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker. Okay, this is what he said. Everyone's
father.
He was asked, but what do you call Twitter now? And he goes, well, everyone still calls it Twitter. Then in parentheses he writes, "We tweet, not excrete."
What?
X.
Okay.
X.
I get it. X.
Yeah. That's pretty good, isn't it? I thought it was.
Okay. Years and Years, by the way. I've just been corrected. The name of that show is Years and Years.
Oh.
Thank you for that correction.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'll have
So
to check that out.
Yeah,
That's on but it's only on HBO now.
I believe
right?
so.
Okay. All right. How about this?
Okay.
All right. We've been hearing a lot about Trump. How about a little bit more?
Okay, sure. Why not? Can't have enough.
I know. He's just
the
dominating
insanity.
the airwaves here.
Yeah.
I put one of the...
Take a deep breath. Everybody, let's have a calming moment. Everybody center yourself.
Breathe in through your nose.
That's right.
And out through your mouth.
I was...
Thank you, Sam.
Actually...
Yeah,
I'm gonna just can this one.
Really?
I don't.
You don't want to do it?
Yeah, I have had enough of Trump this morning.
You're right.
Got to save it for when we take out the trash next.
Yes. So
how about
this is by the way, I just want to get to something that is just really strange. Okay.
All right.
I thought this was odd and unusual.
Okay.
And I saw it on a local channel. I have actual audio here.
Okay.
It's the eclipse tourism boom.
Oh, this is huge. Everybody's talking about the eclipse.
What?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. This is a big deal. People are traveling all over the country so they can get in line, like in Indiana. Yes. And, there's a certain place that you can see the eclipse.
Yeah. The whole eclipse.
Yes.
We get a partial one up here in Wisconsin if we're allowed to see it, if it's not too cloudy.
Right.
Okay. But these people are planning months ahead.
Yeah, well, it's happening next week, I think.
They're booking hotels.
This week. Yeah.
They're making a holiday out of this.
Oh, I know.
Do they know how long an eclipse is? Has anybody checked?
It's
a
an
total
event.
eclipse is just a moment in time.
Yeah, I mean, like the last one in 2017 or whatever, it wasn't that long ago. They should remember it only lasts like 10 minutes. If that.
But it's a big deal. This is a huge deal.
It's
yes.
too big a deal.
Okay.
This is ridiculous.
People are fascinated by space. Okay.
Cut 604.
All right. What?
We're going to have to
Please
listen to this
stand
because,
by.
we're getting...
You want to hold on to it?
Up here in Wisconsin.
All right.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have to hold on to this, right?
Just, yeah.
Here in Wisconsin, we're going to see an 87% eclipse. They've got it.
But if you go
down.
over to Indiana, you can watch the total eclipse.
Really?
I think that's the closest. I believe so.
The closest total eclipse. Okay.
The closest to our area geographically.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
It is 7:49.
I can't believe they're doing this.
It's a huge
Have
deal.
we nothing else to do with our lives?
Back with more of John and Gordy. Coming up, we've got tidbits, odds and ends. Oh, yeah, we got leftovers on a Monday, on April Fool's Monday. Coming up.
Maybe factual, maybe cruel. Sometimes everybody plays the fool. Is it
Terrific if you like eating leftovers.
Leftovers.
Leftovers? I kept the leftovers. The leftovers! Just some leftovers.
Leftovers for a week and a half. He ate those leftovers.
Funeral leftovers.
The day we eat all the leftovers.
I'll just have leftovers.
Leftovers. Enjoy.
All right, we will.
All right. Leftovers.
This is leftover from
Easter
the
leftovers.
The last break. Okay.
Okay.
All right, now let's get into this. The eclipse tourism boom.
It's huge.
Oh, by the way, I just want
big deal.
I just want to mention when I was typing this out, I thought, wait a minute here, boom or boon, right?
Boom.
And it's both. Boon. You can use both, boom and boon.
Okay.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Thanks for pointing that out.
I know. It's pathetically small.
John the Walking Thesaurus.
There we
It's
go.
good your numbering systems, it's finally working out at the end of the show here. When do you number these late at night when you're like had a couple of drinks? Because it seems like a few of the numbers have been off lately.
Look,
we play it and then it's like something completely different. How do you do that?
This is a rough patch.
We're working our way through a rough patch this morning. April Fool's, maybe. Okay.
I really kind of messed up the numbers.
Everything's been just one or two off.
It's not hard to do. You just go to the next greater number, but I can't do that.
But somehow it's been really weird.
Got to go back to school and learn how to count again.
It's not working.
All right.
It's not working. So the last time I'm talking to Ann, I'm saying, well, can I come up with a better way, a different system?
Yeah, something more accurate.
But then it got complicated. If I put a date in there, right?
No, don't do that.
4,
No.
0, 1, and then I'd have to have dash cut 2,
No.
and it just becomes ridiculous at that point.
Just pay a little closer attention.
I know. It's just the numbering system. That's all I have to do is just be correct.
Right. Okay.
All right, let's go to cut 603.
This is all about the eclipse.
And we're
going to
talk about the boom. People are scheduling hotels.
Oh, yeah, they're taking vacations
staying
to
in
see
other
this.
cities so they could watch a 2-minute eclipse? This is dumb. This is stupid.
It's
This
an
is
event.
not worthwhile.
It's a big deal. They take pictures. They look in telescopes.
Well, at least
All right.
these cities will benefit from the tourism.
Okay, let's hear it.
ABC's Andrew Dimbert has you covered on the eclipse tourism boom that's happening across the country.
Unbelievable.
With just 10 days to go until a total solar eclipse passes over parts of the U.S., tourists flocking to the path of totality are contending with sky-high prices.
Believe it or not, people have been booking hotels for 11 months now. Airlines have added special flights for the coverage.
Those flying to the festivities face extra high prices as spring break coincides with the cosmic spectacle. The average round-trip ticket to Louisville is running about $1,200. Buffalo, about $1,000. San Antonio, just under $900. And hotel and Airbnb prices in communities along the eclipse path are also astronomical. In Killeen, Texas, a room that typically costs about $100 a night will run you more than $860. In Burlington, Vermont, it will cost nearly $1,400 for a room that typically goes for $106.
We have people from as far away as London, England that are coming to Franklin County.
Many insist the out-of-this-world costs are worth it to witness the last total eclipse in the U.S. for more than 20 years.
I don't know if there are words to describe the level of excitement I have. If the number went to 100, I'm probably at like 500.
Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Get a life, folks. Get a life.
So it's happening on April 8th, and the next one's not until August 23rd of 2044. So this is, last chance for a lot of us to go see the total eclipse.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. It's a big deal.
That is ridiculous. These people paying,
They want to be a part
tickets, inflated hotel prices.
Yeah, well, it's a big deal.
Oh, wait a minute. I don't understand this.
What?
There are always eclipses. Why are you saying the next one is...
This is the next
total eclipse.
Total. This is
even
a total
here,
eclipse.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Like in here, it's going to be 80-some% totality. So
right.
It's not that far off, and we're hundreds of miles away from the path of totality.
But maybe, you know what? Yeah. Maybe it is a little too far off.
Are you going to drive to Indiana, John?
Maybe. This is our last one.
You could
this is our last one, Gordy.
Well, yeah. I'm not into it that much either. No. But I can understand, it's something different, something that you can tell your kids you were at, you can take pictures, have a party, do a little camping.
Yeah.
Like, I can understand if
selfie.
it's like Halley's Comet or something that comes once every 70 years.
Yes.
I'll be excited when that
Right,
comes.
exactly.
But
Okay. Yeah.
But you can take a selfie with the eclipse behind you.
Okay. I guess you can do that. Or you can just stay home and watch it on TV, you know?
Yeah.
Instead of experience the real thing, you can, you know,
watch reruns
Watch the
of it.
reruns. You watch it on the news later.
God.
No, it is a big deal
Well,
in the, astrological.
I'm glad these cities and hotels will benefit from all these crazy
It's a
people that
moneymaker
have nothing else to do with their lives.
It's a moneymaker for these motels, and hotels are out in the middle of nowhere. That's a big deal.
Hey, if we're hurting so much from inflation, how are people able to afford this?
Well,
why are they doing this?
Well, just because everybody's jumping on the bandwagon. They want to see it. Yeah.
Again, and just for those who are saying, how come John and Gordy didn't celebrate April Fool's Day? Again, the John and Gordy Go Mega April Fool's Day special.
Coughing up a lung.
So
every day is April Fool's Day here.
April Fool's Day.
That's right.
April Fool's Day.
Yeah,
it's April Fool's Day every day on Right Wing Radio.
That's it.
See, we would have gone mega, but you can tune into them.
Yeah, Vicky McKenney's got
enjoy
her name
an
is.
April Fool's.
Your old partner. Yeah, you could tune in. Yeah, but why don't you call in?
Should Vicky McKenna and I get back together again?
We need a reunion, John.
And do a special upfront edition.
Great idea.
Wouldn't it?
Can we get a hold of her people and put that out there? Do you have any contact with her anymore?
No.
Why would that be?
Well, she'd probably report me as a stalker because she's very paranoid.
Oh, boy.
But maybe I'm wrong. You know what?
You could be
maybe
wrong.
if we just had a chance to
get
talk it
together.
out. To talk it out.
She should come to the short stack. Sometime she could just drop by. You guys could have a little reunion.
She could
have
bribery
a cup of coffee.
with pancakes, the best kind of bribery.
Pancake
I'm
bribery.
sure she's often at the Capitol, rubbing shoulders with Brian Shimmy, who has filled in for her so many other times on
there
the
you
air.
go.
So yeah, maybe if we got together again and had a little reunion, get into that Shark Tank again.
You should bury the hatchet. Just bygones be bygones. Sit down, have a cup of coffee, a couple of pancakes.
No, we're not going to bring weapons into this. We'll leave the hatchets at home.
Okay. We'll work on that.
Yeah.
Guess what? We're all out of time for this April Fool's
All
edition of John and Gordy. But boy, we've got some great ideas for future shows coming through. Yeah? Tomorrow.
I'm thinking.
Tomorrow we'll have Paula Severson, Dane by Local. She'll be here. We hope you'll join us then.
I'd like to say hello to Don out there in DeForest. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Have a great day. Talk to you tomorrow.
Is the John and Gordy